Welcome to Napa Valley Inside Out. I'm Latife Hayson, and I am delighted to be hosting this podcast, shining a light on one of the most beautiful and coveted lifestyles in the world. If you're interested in developing a property, planting a vegetable garden, making olive oil, fashion, architecture, interior design, county rules and regulations, biking paths, art, getting into the wine business, farming practices, the tax benefits of owning a vineyard, or the ultimate private tours and tastings, and all the fabulous annual cultural events we enjoy here, and so much more, then you won't want to miss this show. Every week I will be interviewing amazing talent, vintners, entrepreneurs, leaders, consultants, festival organizers, and well-known personalities in the Valley. They will share their knowledge, experience, advice, goals, passions, and their best-kept secrets. Daniel Haar is in the house of DMH Napa Valley. Daniel is widely known as a Napa insider, and he specializes in curating coveted experiences in Napa Valley. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
This
Latife.
is a
It's
treat.
a pleasure.
You and I have crossed paths so many times over the years. So
it's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Well, you have had a remarkable history and have had a very inspiring journey throughout your entire life, from what I can tell. Tell us about your life in Vietnam and how your family made their way to the United States.
Well, I was actually born in Saigon, but when in 1975, at the fall of Saigon, however, our family did not escape until 1979. I was only 4.5. So we were boat people. We took a arduous journey out to the South China Sea, where it was very challenging. My memories of it were vague, but the recollections of my family and the siblings which they shared with me is it was a very tough journey, particularly on my father, where he wasn't able to make it. Mm-hmm. And so we were rescued at a refugee camp where he was buried. And then at that point, we were sponsored to come over to the U.S. We had family that came over in 75, and at that point, they actually settled in Oklahoma City. So that was our destination. So we came over to the United States and settled in Oklahoma City.
So you're one of 7 children.
Yes.
You're the youngest.
Yes.
I'm one of 7.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm number 5. I'm the baby girl.
Okay.
So we're kindred spirits.
Yes.
So your mother, your father, and your 6 siblings, and yourself, and you were 4.5 years old,
Correct.
the baby. And you were on the boat with 108 other people.
Right.
And unfortunately, your father did not make it.
Correct.
But your mother raised all of you in Oklahoma, and you really had a hard time there. It was not an easy life. Tell us about your
Sure.
life there when you first arrived as refugees.
Well, of course, my mom, before I ever knew who Superwoman was, there was my mom.
Yeah.
She, we actually, when we came over, we were, we lived in the housing projects, and she worked minimum wage at a candy factory, graveyard shift. And, we just did the best we could. My oldest brother finally graduated college and
Unbelievable.
with an engineering degree, and so he bought my mom a house, and we moved out of the projects. And he was a real inspiration for the rest of my siblings. I have 3 other siblings that went on to pharmacy school, and and then I took the path of business and studied marketing.
But what an extraordinary woman to have no money, no husband, and to live in the projects and to raise children and have them so highly educated. I mean, this woman is extraordinary.
Well, she ingrained in us very early on that I think considering what happened to our family, it was very purposeful. Education was always a focus. And so there wasn't ever a question whether we would go to college. It was, we would get there. And, through, financial aid and scholarships and, federal grants, we all went through the system.
Oh, I would love to meet your mother one day. What an inspiring woman. Unbelievable. I mean, I know my mum and dad were together forever, you know, and 7 kids. They worked so hard, My dad had so many businesses, and we didn't have any money growing up. And so I know how hard it is. I can't imagine doing it on your own.
She was a real inspiration, and I think she turned 80 this year. My wife and I and our 2 daughters flew back to Oklahoma City to celebrate with her, and it was a great celebration. She, I think, because of her hard work and determination and strong will, she was an inspiration for us. I think any day we'd have when things were rough, you could always think about what Mom had to endure. So. It kind of gave us a perspective.
Oh, and I bet you're all great children to her, are you? You all take care of her?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We try to, we take care of her like she's taking care of us. So.
Oh, my family's the same.
Yeah.
All of my siblings and I, we looked after our parents till the end. They died 6 months apart. We took such good care of them because they took such good care of us. We were their whole life, and you were your mother's whole life. Yeah. So then you made your way to Dallas out of Oklahoma City.
That's correct.
And you got into the wine business.
Yeah, right out of college, actually.
Yeah.
I went on to work for a big wine distributor. Which is today the largest wine distributor in the U.S. So it was a great place to get started in the industry, really kind of cut my teeth on the retail, on-premise. And then I veered into the restaurant arena, trained as a sommelier and ran a few wine programs. That gave me some visibility, which allowed me the opportunity to come to Napa.
And what was your first job in Napa?
So my first job in Napa was, I was on the restaurant side. I was the general manager and wine director for a restaurant that's no longer here called Budo.
Oh, fantastic restaurant. Yeah, really fantastic. Yeah.
Budo, ironically, it's the Japanese word for grape. And it was just ahead of its time.
Yeah, so, it was. What a shame, huh?
Right.
And then after that, you went on to Vineyard 29.
That's right.
Working with Chuck McMinn, the great Chuck McMinn.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chuck and Ann were fantastic. And
they are.
Provided me the first opportunity to work here in the Napa Valley for a winery. So I established the wine marketing and hospitality program there, which was working with Philippe Milka, which was an extraordinary opportunity and really opened the door for my future in wine here in Napa Valley.
So Philippe was the winemaker back then?
He was.
Is he now?
I believe he's still consulting for them, yes.
Fantastic. And then you went on to Dana Estates.
Yes.
Oh, the beautiful Dana Estates. Yeah. What a property to be involved with, and the wines.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. 100 points, right?
That's right, a couple of 100 points.
Yeah.
So Dana Estates was a really remarkable project, and I was fortunate to be involved with it very early on. The connection was there. Philippe Milka was also the winemaker there.
Yeah.
But I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Lee and Jay, who run the winery, and it was a project that I couldn't pass up. And so.
What a gorgeous building, Howard Backen building. I've only seen pictures.
Well, it was originally owned by the John and Diane Livingston.
That's what that.
And
yes.
Yeah, it was part of Livingston.
That's
Moffett.
right.
But the original, it was a ghost winery, these stone ruins, which Howard actually kept in contact. And so the architecture there is amazing, but it's a reflection of the attention to detail that's in the wine as well.
Yeah, I actually had that co-listed with their son, Mike Moffat, many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I have a house for sale, a gorgeous estate right next to Dana Estate. So I'm down there all the time. I'm like, I've got to figure out how to get in
it's off
there.
of Whitehall Lane?
No, it's right next. It's on Cabernet Lane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Because Whitehall, you come into the winery,
Yes.
whereas the private residence,
the estate, right,
the estate.
is Cabernet. That's correct.
Yeah, it's a great location down there.
That's right.
Beautiful. So then you went on to work for.
So after Donna,
Pulido.
Exactly. I reconnected with a longtime client that I knew, Mark Pulido. I actually met him at Vineyard 29.
Yeah.
And we always stayed in touch, and he kind of followed my career through Napa. But when I first met him, he had mentioned in '06 that he had purchased this, he was very modest, a small property on Mount Veeder that turned out to be 118 acres, which he finally planted 15 acres, and they had an amazing estate home that was up there.
Yeah, I remember going there, and you put on the most incredible spread. You hired an incredible chef for us, and the champagne and the caviar on our wrists as we walked in. It was such a memorable day for our clients that you did that on behalf of our clients for us. And honestly, we're all still talking about it. You really are the master of putting these really coveted, very memorable experiences together.
Well, thank you.
And the sad part is, since then, that the house burned down in the October fires.
Correct.
Yeah.
Last October.
Yeah.
The Partridge fires destroyed the property. So it was the entire home was lost, and it was kind of a traumatic experience for Pulido-Walker. She was actually in town that evening on Sunday with some friends, and I got a call at 11:40 and came over, and she had, when she called me, she said that the electricity had the power was out, and that they were stuck at the first gate entering the property. So when I came over, I was the first responder, I guess, and was able to get them out, and the cars came out, and the fire chief showed up shortly after and asked if everyone was evacuated from the home, and we told him yes, and so we left, and Dawn and her friends in their robes came over to our home that evening.
In their bathrobes, the story, so many stories of the bathrobes,
And then the next morning, Donna was very anxious. We drove up Partridge and to see the house was gone.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is so extraordinary to me that more lives were not lost, which is really a testament to the first responders who put their lives on the line and went in and woke up all these people that were sound asleep with flames flying everywhere and debris, flying through the air. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you remember that next day, the sky and just gloomy, and we, that following day, Donna and her friends found the first flight out. They flew back down to San Diego, and then my wife and I, packed the girls up, and we left town immediately.
Yeah, it's really interesting for all the people that have gates, which I do too. You have to think about these things, because if the gates are not opening and you can't get out, it's a problem.
Right. The way that it was fixed, the Knox key was on the front side. That allows, if there's a fire emergency, for them to get in. But if you're going out the other way and there's no power.
Yeah. For the
And another consideration would be maybe looking at putting solar.
I have solar.
Yeah, so.
It's the only thing that worked. In fact, I'm embarrassed to tell you, we didn't even know about the fires until 2 o'clock the next day.
Oh,
we're in St. Helena, no power, no water, no internet, no cell,
but
no
you were
nothing.
asleep during that time.
Blue skies. Oh, no.
To 2 o'clock.
People evacuated to my house, but that was from Calistoga, and I had just come down from Diamond Mountain Road, which I got trapped because trees were down, but I didn't know anything about fires.
Sure.
And so we came down and went home, and and start getting calls from Constant Diamond Mountain Winery saying, "Oh, look at this fire!" And I'm like, "What fire?" And get in your car. But I didn't know about the rest of Napa being on fire.
Right.
So anyway, that's a whole other story. So everybody think about your gates.
Yes.
So then you started you're still with Pulido-Walker.
Yes, I'm the estate ambassador for
yes.
Pulido-Walker, but I also, at the same time, started my own company, DMH Napa Valley.
When did you start that?
I started that, I guess it's been almost 5 years ago.
And how's it going?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It allows me the opportunity to continue to work with Mark and Donna with Pulido-Walker, but when I'm here, basically my company provides high-level service for private clients that are traveling here that want to experience Napa in a very unique and exquisite fashion.
I would say exquisite, definitely exquisite.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about some of those experiences that you curate for your clients.
Well, everyone has been to a wine tasting, and of course, the setting can really make the difference, and the company person who's hosting you. So I look at every situation differently, where I want to curate experience to match the people and their taste. And so some of those experiences have included, actually, I chartered a yacht last weekend, actually tomorrow, for one of my clients that just flew in, and they're going to have a private tasting with the winemaker on the Napa River, and it's going to take them out to the bay, but it's just a one-on-one experience. Last week, with the yacht, we had 5 couples. And we always try to lay in activities that include winemakers and vintners, and usually the experiences are access to properties that people may not typically have access to.
Have access to, yeah. I mean, I know you know a lot of those.
Right.
Yeah. And you travel a lot. Is that for your business or for Pulido-Walker?
I am the state ambassador for Pulido-Walker, so I take the show on the road, particularly after the fires. We try to explore other markets where the wines are. I work with the distributors there during the day, and then usually in the evenings. I just flew back from Atlanta yesterday and hosted a private dinner for collectors.
Well, it's really nice that you can have your own business and still be helping them out. Did they lose any of their vineyards?
They did lose a portion of their vineyards due to the heat damage. Some of the outer blocks were destroyed with the fires. However, luckily, all the fruit that we picked was picked before the fires from the Melanson and Panic vineyards. But the estate vineyard, this will actually be the inaugural harvest of the estate vineyards. They were planted in 15, and we'll have a little Chardonnay, and we'll see where the Cabernet is.
Oh, wow. So tell us about, how do you find your clients? Because I know I've seen you at so many incredible estates doing events.
Right.
And I mean, even myself in luxury real estate, you don't get to see most of the beautiful properties here unless you buy, a book on gardening or something like that on Napa Valley. Then you see all these amazing houses. They're all hidden up in the hills, and you always seem to find those great places. So
I do. Well, as far as I guess a lot of my business is I've been in Napa for over 12 years, and I've established a lot of long-term relationships. People who travel here regularly, so they're always looking to do something special and different, and so I think word of mouth has sort of been the best advertising, I guess. And so a lot of people find me mostly. But I guess the last year, Wine Enthusiast wrote, there was actually a guide on California wine country, and they selected me as the Napa Insider. So that gave a little exposure to what I do, and so that was nice.
That's really nice, yeah. And tell me, when you, what's your favorite wine? Can I ask you that?
Well, that's a tough question.
It's a really tough question.
I really enjoy, I love champagne. Both my wife and I really enjoy champagne.
Oh, you do?
So we try to explore small grower champagnes. That's always fun because it's festive. And I think people are always think champagne is for a special occasion, but
Yeah.
in my eyes, every day is a special occasion. And so that's something that's unique because it expresses terroir and a sense of place. You can't get it anywhere else.
Right.
But that's also the beauty of Napa Valley, because there's also so many different microclimates and appellations here that have wines that are unique to that location.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to ask me what my favorite wine in Napa would be very difficult.
No, don't answer that question. What kind of trends do you see in the wine industry?
Trends. Well, one of the obvious things that are that's taking place in Napa Valley is the consolidation. Some of the larger corporate companies are acquiring very significant vineyards and estates that have been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see a change where you're going to see more smaller projects coming up, and but the consolidation, I think, is going to affect the market from a pricing, quality, production standpoint very much. So.
Do you have many clients thinking that they want to move here and start a label?
Many.
You do,
yes.
Yeah. And how do you advise them?
Well, I always kind of take it. The question is really about at what level they want to participate. Mm-hmm. And Mark and Donna, for instance, really began with they kind of got their feet wet joining the Napa Valley Reserve. And at that point, that's how, through their membership there, they were able to connect with me at Vineyard 29, and but then they had invested in purchasing land, which wasn't developed. That was the other question. So, starting land, you don't have to, you actually don't have to buy land to start a wine project. You can purchase grapes, you can hire a consultant, and and then it's. But I think the one thing that I would advise, especially as someone who's been entrenched with the marketing and brand development of luxury brands for wine, is it's very simple to create and make wine, mm-hmm. if you have the resources. But the question is, what are you going to do with it after it's
I was
made?
just about to say, they probably don't think about the marketing, right?
And so,
well, they just got you on speed dial.
And so, what ends up happening is they come up, they do have a project, they've hired the right winemaker, they're buying the right fruit, and they have a project, and then they have a couple hundred cases on their hands, and that's more wine than they consume and share with their friends and family. So. Then that's when marketing's thought of.
I know, isn't it amazing?
So it's important
to think
about that.
And it's so hard today to break into the market because there are so many brands, many great names. The competition is rife.
And it is. Right? I like to say you're competing for seller space. So, for collectors. But I think that's, is there a formula? I think there's certain objectives that you want to try to reach, and marketing your wine, it just depends on what level do you want to play.
Well, marketing your wine, you kind of need to get some good ratings just to even get some sales out there, right?
Sure.
And it's just so competitive.
Yeah, and I think the ratings now are maybe less important than they were before.
That's good to know, because they were a driving force. Everyone's making the wine to their palate, right?
I think what drives this business are relationships.
Yes.
And ultimately, there's so many great wines out in the Napa Valley, but I think, but I think as far as producing wines of quality and such, but you need to have the right relationships to get your wines in the right hands.
Yeah, I was talking to Tor about this.
Sure.
And Tor, I used to advise all of my clients. They go, I want to get into the wine business. I'm like, really? We need to do coffee. I don't think you do.
Right.
But, there was a time when I would say to them, you don't need a winery. to have a label,
Correct.
and you don't need a vineyard. You can buy grapes. But you know what? In the last few years, so many wineries have sold to corporate conglomerates, family conglomerates.
That's right.
And have been taken over. And it's really hard to find great vineyards now. So if you want to make a great wine, as you say, or as Tor was saying, he's been around for so long. He has long-term relationships.
That's correct.
With from buying grapes from vineyards from a block within the vineyard. I mean, the best of the best, you know.
Right.
But even trying to find good grapes today can't be easy because every vintner is looking for vineyards
Sure.
and premium vineyards, and we all have a list as long as our arm, and they're just not out there.
Of course, you know, and obviously with certain vineyards. For example, Beckstock, I mean, you're going to pay a premium, and
yes.
even at that point, there's a long line.
I just had Andy on the show.
Right.
Well, I just interviewed him last week. We had a double interview. There's just so much to talk about, and we talked about the pricing structure and how difficult it is to get,
Sure.
and how he chooses who he sells his grapes to, because he wants to know that his Tokalon brand and all his other wonderful historic vineyard brands are going into a great wine that are selling for a lot of money and getting great, well received, and that they sell.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, what a legend,
Oh my
stories
gosh!
of-
Yeah, we did two. We did back to back, and I said, I've got to get you back. I love what you said. You said navigating through your wine career, you found the common thread in your experiences are people and discovering all the connections that link them.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the truth?
It's absolutely
and
true.
that's really what I know of you. You have amazing connections. Everybody in the valley, who is anybody, wants to know Daniel, and they come and use your services, and it is all about connections in this valley, really, isn't it? It's not easy to break into.
It's I think anywhere you go, it's important to have resources. And and sometimes it's not difficult, or it's not easy to kind of have those relationships. And I've been fortunate to have been here for a while, and I've been fortunate to be a part of some great projects, and met a lot of great people. And you just try to maintain those relationships, and you become. I remember. I'll share my first, one of my very vivid memories of being in Napa Valley, and I was, on the floor at the restaurant at Budo, and Ann Colgan, Robert Mondavi, and Joseph Phelps were all sitting,
Aww.
and I was straight from Dallas, and I said, this is pretty. I mean, like, pinch me, right? This is not real.
Yeah.
And for me now with DMH and when I'm hosting people, I want to give them that feeling. And I think having the privilege of knowing some of the celebrities and the iconic personalities of Napa Valley that I've cultivated relationships with. It's important for me to try to share those.
Oh yeah, no, and you do such a great job.
Thank you.
So what do you think about all the changes in Napa? And what do your clients think about all the wonderful changes in Napa?
We love now. So my wife and I live in downtown, so we are very vested. But also just talking about, like, when I first came here, and the restaurant that I worked at, was early before the development really came. Copia, the loss of Copia.
Oh, I know.
But
that's what really started everything. That's what I was saying to Todd Zapolsky. Absolutely, no question.
But now it's back, and it's so amazing to see this, like, resurgence. There's it's lively. I mean, it's really become a destination, and the energy in downtown has changed.
Oh, hasn't it changed?
It has.
It's so young. It's hip.
Yes.
I've been saying for years there's like this quasi-renaissance happening down in Napa, and now with the completion of First Street Napa and that whole project that Todd has done.
Yes.
Unbelievable. And I'm seeing that the numbers are up, the tourist numbers are up, and we're so happy, everybody, keep coming back, because Napa did not burn to the ground.
That's
we
right.
had a lot of damage in the hills, but tourists will not notice what has happened in Napa Valley. Everything's business as usual. But, we were very blessed. I've met a lot of people who have said that They came up to Napa straight after the fires to support us.
Right.
And the numbers, last time I looked was February, so it's a few months ago, but the numbers were up this February over last February. And certainly the same in Calistoga. Everywhere you go, the restaurants are packed. I have all my clients telling me for months, I can't get a room, Latife. I can't get a room anywhere. So it's really fantastic.
Yes.
I was saying to Todd today, I said, what is it? If you build it, they will come, because they're coming.
Yes.
There's more and more construction going on and more people coming.
Absolutely. I think it's having a reason for people to come. And, next weekend, how many people are going to be here for Bottle Rock? I mean, I think that when you bring that critical mass of people here, they just get an opportunity
They get a taste of it, and they keep coming back.
They will.
I hate to tell you, I'm going to my first Bottle Rock concert.
I'll see you there.
Oh, on the 24th. I've never been before.
We're going to be there. So normally, we went the first year, and with kids and all, but we couldn't resist, and we have some friends that are performing, and so we're going to have backstage access.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? I know, I
awesome.
was very lucky. I think I've been invited into a box. I don't know what any of it means, but
Yes.
it sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, I think no matter what level you are, it's going to be an amazing
It's
weekend.
a very successful event.
Yes.
And then we have the wine auction. I mean, it just goes on. And then we have Napa Valley Festival Napa Valley.
Right.
I've got 5 days and nights tickets. I'm so excited. I
you-
never miss.
It's fantastic,
But I never
right?
go at lunchtime. But somehow I just bought both lunch and dinner, so I'll be giving those away. But
That's
I
great.
can't do 2 events in one day. But the performances are so
It's
amazing.
world class, absolutely.
World class. Are you going to the barrel auction?
Yes, I'll be
Fantastic.
there. And live auctions.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Latife,
It has
it's
been
always a pleasure.
wonderful
Thank
to
you
have
so
you.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next week.